Well, welcome back to part 3 of the Ronnie Boy, and I'm currently having a nervous breakdown. Let me explain. Right, I've cut all the tabs off, and obviously the next thing we've got to do is, I know this is good, we're going to start off with a sloper, but the dream is to be able to discus launch it like we did the original EPP Ronnie Boy that we made. Now, let me show you the conundrum I'm umming and ahhing about. So, launch peg on the left down wingtip. I've decided, without cleaning up my original pug, and I thought, you know what, I'm not going to go whole hog with a proper blade. I'm going to use exactly the same that's on the pug. I'll tell you, it works really, really well. Now, first thought is, I've been mucking around with Depron, and I'm thinking about cutting 2 of these in 1.5mm, like so. This is the underneath one, and there's going to be one on top, and then I'm thinking about sticking the launch peg in there, like so. Obviously it's going to go 50-50 like that, and then there'll be another sheet of that on top. I will actually add a little bit of a wingtip for protection. That's my first idea. I've got to be honest with you, the more and more I've thought about it, this is my primary, the more and more I think, yeah, this is going to be a brilliant idea. Then when I looked at the plug, when I was cleaning the plug up, I'm thinking to myself, Nick, why don't you just make like a small wingtip here, put the launch peg, but in hindsight what I should have done was left that tube long, and I could have cut that straight through the leading edge like so. We've done that, so we can't, so that might be for the Mark II if we ever get that far. So what do you think? 2 internal templates, or obviously not the shape, but a wingtip? I literally can't, I can't decide. Logic is saying to me, do a wingtip. Argument being, if I do a wingtip, I can glue that straight to the end of that carbon rod there. Also, that's going to provide some protection for the elevon here. And what I will do though is, just for safety's sake, I'll add a triangular fillet like that to there and to there, just to give it a bit of extra strength. There you go, done. That's how we design an airplane. So I'm not going to do these in Coral Draw. I am just going to quickly smash something out very quickly, and then I'm going to look at it by eye. And then, like I've said before, I'm at the stage at the moment with not so much with the wing helper. Remember, 30% discount until October the 1st. You can try it for 7 days. Just quote Nick 30% discount. I've had so many people message me that, in fact, I've known 3 people. That's 3 people bought wing helper before they'd done the 7-day trial. Ended up buying a laser. I'm going to be running a counselling service for, I don't mean the sexist, but male modelers explaining to their wives why they've just bought a laser. Just say Nick said how to get it. Anyway, let me come up with a wingtip, and then I'll get back to you. Right, so I have, I'm never going to win any design awards, but I have come up with a basic shape out of this particular block of wood that was scrap from the good glider, that, by the way. And then I am just freehanding this. What I've got to remember is I've got to make another one for the other side as well. Right, there you go. Let me just do a little bit of Ron Chitty magic. Right, that, there you go. Right, it's going to have the pencil marks on it at the moment. That's what I'm looking for. That there, like that. I'm going to make another one. No, I'm going to make a half one, because the only issue I've got is, see, look, that's the top of the rib is still standing proud. So we really, I've got to glue that down, and then, right. So it's the right thickness, right at the trailing edge. So what we really need to do is just fill in the front bit, which might be a cheap option. My problem is I just need to calm down, because otherwise I'm going to get all excited and break something. Now there's another scrap bit. If I put that onto there like that, or whether shall I just, right, so that's 2 pieces of 1.5 mil, so that's going to make it, doesn't actually need, it only needs to come back to here. So I think we will cut ourselves another triangle of the same thickness there, like so. There you go, that's on there like that. Let's put that there. There you go. It's going to take some sanding down. In fact, what I'll do is I'll sand that down before I actually, yeah, I reckon that'll do it. You ready? Right, not glued in. That's not glued at the moment. I've got some very expensive from my old F3K models. I'm not sticking one in this one because we don't know it's going to work yet, and I might have to re-drill some various places, but that's exactly the same gauge, thickness, length and everything off the pug. Look at that. So that's going to get glued in after I've done the covering. So I'm happy with the wings. The only thing I need to do now is look at my the gear, and I've decided I'm going to stick the fuselage on. I did and ah about bolting it on, but in the end I've decided I'm going to stick it on, and then so I'm going to stick this on, and then we're getting close. I'm literally going to have to cover that, and then I think there's enough purchase on here, there, top and bottom, for a good glue joint, and I'll use wood glue, just leave that overnight, and then it's just literally covering, whack the gear in. And the weather is absolutely atrocious for the next week. It's like gale force winds and rain. Anyway, I'll crack on with this. Right, I glued the fuselage on yesterday, and that is really lovely and firm, so I'm really pleased with that. Now I've got to be honest with you, it's where the errors at the start are beginning to catch up with me. The problem I've got is my fuselage is only just wide enough just for the servos. I can't stagger the servos to get the arms bigger, because obviously I had already decided with the weight of everything I wanted to put the battery, I want the battery in here, in this bit here. I don't suspect, I mean at the moment that's tail heavy, but got the elevons and the fin to go on, so I do feel like I'm just about right with that. So the next plan of action is I've not glued the servos in yet. I've got the servos in. There's going to have to be a bit of origami going around with the servo arms at the front here. So what I'm going to do next is before I cover it, I am just going to make myself some push rods, just to see. I've got the sneaking suspicion also that is, I might just get away with that going over the curve of this wing, but let's have a look at this. Let's make a push rod up and see how it goes. Right, steady on it. Right, I just literally got the first thing I could see on these push rods here, and because what I was worried about is it going over the push rod is not going to go over the centre, but some of my designing has worked out in my head. So if I push that in there and then go to the servo, so that's actually resting on there. Look at that. That's going to be, and that's just resting on the servo arm. So that is going to work really well. I think if I was redoing, or I do another one, or Andy decides if there's enough interest, people are interested in this, I think I'd make this slightly higher, and then we could literally flare that right to the back. But at the moment, that's very much like the Alula, the original Alula was. So I'm just going to bend up some arms for this, and then what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to bend up the arms, and then I'm going to put them to one side, and everything's going to get covered. And boom, there you go. One Ronnie Boy. Now then, the only thing I've not shown you is I've made a little bit of a technical boo-boo with this, which I'll talk to you about. Anyway, she comes in at 143 grams with the slope sawing fin. Oh, get me. Span is 880 mil. There you go. Oh, that's me DLG fin. Now at the moment you'll notice I haven't put the pegging, so the theory is I'm going to go and fly it off the slope first, get my CFG. Now the CFG is about 20 millimeters back from the leading edge. I'm a little bit out on that at the moment. Let me just show you. This is the disappointing thing. What I should have done, I think the fuselage is a little bit too narrow, hence it's a little bit jam-packed in there. But that new battery that I found, that works really well. I've just got to add, I think it's about 11 grams in the nose at the moment, but I got so excited with finishing it. What I should have done was like the original Alula. That's done in Depron, isn't it? I've gone and made these in balsa. Duh. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that little tribute to my late father Ron. So what I am going to do is, I've got this cracking story to tell you at the end, but I'm going to tell it while I'm flying the Ronnie Boy. Anyway, thanks for watching. I've been a little bit slow with videos. It's family, mate, isn't it? You know what I mean? Family always comes first for me, particularly when it means my granddaughters. And but it's blowing a gale outside at the moment. The first available day I get to try this, I promise you, we will be out. Now, quick question for you. So please, if you're still listening to this, I've got two designs which I've thought of. One, so I've got a DLG wing, which I'd really like to explore. A flying wing, DLG flying wing, which I've done on Wing Helper, or a small, what I would call a utility aircraft, which is basically, by the time it's only 500 mil wingspan. When I've looked at it, it's like, mate, that looks like a sort of like a mini middle face. I'm not being funny. Look, let's be honest, we're all old enough to realise now that there are only basically 7 chords in music, and I think it's the same with glider design. purely unwittingly. So anyway, let me know in the comments if you want the flying wing DLG or the little utility little aileron aerobatic thing. Now just remember, wing helper 30% off if you quote Nick30. 30% off if you quote Nick30 until the October the 1st. So crack on, and I'll see you on the hill shortly.